at the beginning of the day. That's usually not a good sign as far as moving up goes, so that might start to turn a little bit more bearish into the back half of the week. We keep closing our days lower, and all of the moves are in the overnight session. So I expect that again tonight. I expect that we could see another move up with the short calls falling off and there not being an hedge overnight to fight back against. We may see bulls push up into that like 55.85, 55.90 range once more. Commodities falling today. Mostly it looks like oil, bit of a pullback in energy. Precious metals kind of underperforming, but gold doing okay. Dollar stayed pretty elevated today despite the drop in yields following the J-Pow speech, which didn't even really mean revert, right? Like they're still staying pretty elevated. We have the top end of the curve moving up, although the 10-year did fall back below 4.3. Correlation really never got any traction today. They kept trying to push it back, and with the dollar moving up and yields moving up, leverage is at a premium. So they definitely weren't able to push it as hard as they would have wanted to. I'm sure squeezing out those short calls would have been great for them, but it's still extremely low, right? So I mean, it's not like short vol's broken down at all. It's just having a hard time leveraging up more. And we saw a lot of that attempted leverage here with the US JPY carry. Leverage pushed up pretty early in the day, and then it kind of fell back as they gave up. Yield curve's still kind of uninverting a little bit, but alongside that, we're seeing demand for volatility pick up as more and more people position long bonds, right? If this goes positive, that's very bearish, right? And if these are both moving positively, that's generally extremely bearish, but also highlights the fact that, the market's pricing in a lot of rate cuts as well, or, presuming a lot of rate cuts for next year. Bond volatility moved down yesterday. 3-month correlation started to kind of catch back up to bond vol, but not very much. A little bit more tail risk hedging picked up last night. Still no breadth. 47.11% of the S&P over its 20-day moving average. Russell down on the day. Dow down on the day. Those were supportive earlier. And RSP was up earlier, but it just continues to bleed despite the morning pumps. Correlation on VIX, cash VIX, still remains positive, and we are fairly close to seeing some backwardation there. VIX futures just under 12. Cash VIX at 12.50, right? So only like a 50-cent move to see VIX move into backwardation. We continue to see VIX 3-month climbing, right? This has been pushing up for some time from its low a few weeks ago. We're definitely continuing to see that move higher, and this is pushing up that forward convexity, right? Fed fund futures still pricing in 2 rate cuts. So no change with Powell's speech today. Nothing particularly interesting. And honestly, they probably would have been able to push dispersion harder if Microsoft hadn't picked today to announce their purchase of carbon credits. Large purchase of carbon credits, which definitely did a bit of damage to the stock. And we don't really see that money going anywhere else. I mean, Apple had a pretty okay day. Nvidia did okay today, but still both closing lower than their intraday highs. Meta looks like it's starting to fail, and if it loses the 530 level, actually doesn't have a lot of downside support. Google's starting to top out a little bit. Amazon still consolidating, but a breakdown from this consolidation would be pretty bearish, right? Especially if it fails to break above 200. There is still some out of the money interest on Amazon at like 205 that's unrealized so far, but and that would be the target, obviously, if this did break up over 200 and held, which it's not been able to do. Tesla's also probably getting a bit exhausted here out on the 1 hour. It's still trading like substantially above Gamma Max. starting to run out of upside delta. It doesn't look like a lot more is coming in out of the money on the chain, but Tesla still generally picks up the majority of its bullish positioning into the end of the week as options start to price down and more retail picks up gamma. So this may still continue out for a few more days, but it's gonna slow down. Netflix is maybe looking a little weak with a lower high here on the daily. I'd like to see it fall back through like 85 or 80. Yeah, if it fell back through 80, I might take a short on it. Super risky though. Beyond, yeah, I mean Beyond started to see a little bit of covering today. It got a little shorted into the end of the day, but the trend so far over like the last 3 days is we're starting to see some covering. Generally, it starts off really slow and then picks up momentum, right? If you look, back at this period from where like covering started, right? Until it actually started to run. You generally have a little bit of time. I usually go long with leaps here. Not only are synthetic longs just super cheap and usually advantageously levered, but they give you a lot of theta to wait out like whatever move it gets. I will say that more and more puts are being sold on Beyond right now, and Gamma Max is pulling in towards spot. So is GMDN, and as those neutral points move closer to spot, the chance of the hedge flipping is going to increase, and increasing volatility as it goes into earnings is only going to accelerate that. Yeah, I mean, I'm still long on it. GoEV's broken out on the daily. We're starting to see a little bit of covering. It's not a lot yet. It's definitely not a ton of volume, but the volume is picking up. If we go out to the 4 hour, you can see that a little bit better, but still very far from a crossover, right? Like any kind of substantial volumetric covering. 800 June 2025. Go. AVGO leap calls, copy Pelosi. I'm already long AVGO. I bought some more today when it bounced at 17. Fucking stock is awesome. Just goes up like $50 intraday. And then it falls right back to spot. You just buy it again. Anyway, thanks. No problem, Jason. Alright, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you later. I hope everybody has a wonderful night. Peace.